going on YouTube? It's your boy, This Decoder, and today we are here with the one and only, the warrior, the king, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Jeff Leonard, the only player in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! That is able to play Mystic Mine and still be a beloved member of the community and not to be shunned by everyone. Hi Jeff, how are you doing today?
Kevin, I'm doing great, and that's exactly right. People seem to give me a pass on playing it. I don't know why. I guess it's because I'm an old guy. They take pity on me, and they let me play it, and it's been amazing.
Jeff, the old guy. How old are you exactly, Jeff?
I'm 53.
53. I think I've never seen someone of your age group playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Like ever at a YCS, a local. Actually, locals I've seen like dads come in with their kids and the dads were trying to play. I assume that's how you got into it, right? It was because of your son?
It is, but you know, he played combo decks and I wanted to crush him, you know, so I've played stun. And then, of course, when Mystic Mine came along, it was the perfect card for me.
No mercy for your son, bro. I gotta crush my kid.
Some people call it child abuse playing Mystic Mine on them, but I don't see it.
All right. Well, we have made the predictions. As you know, in this series, the Twitch chat can make a prediction on what score they anticipate you will get in order to either win channel points if they believe or win channel points if they doubt. For you, the score you are trying to reach in order for the believers to win their channel points is 6 out of 8, and obviously the quiz is about Mystic Mine and Mystic Mine adjacent cards, because believe it or not, 8 questions just about Mystic Mine is a wee bit hard to do. I did grab a couple of cards that I know are played more often in Mystic Mine decks. So you got your Dark Bribes, you got your Prohibitions, that sort of thing. All the cards you're most likely familiar with. Jeff, are you ready to get into the quiz with question number 1?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. Let's run question number 1. So here, the current board state. You control a Mystic Mine and a Field Barrier. Both cards you are most likely very familiar with. We're starting off with the absolute basics that you need to know to play Mystic Mine.
This is what I call full combo.
It is indeed full combo. Your opponent ain't winning through this, right? So at this point, it is your opponent's turn, and they're going to be activating a Harpy's Feather Duster from their hand. Which cards on your side of the field are going to be destroyed?
It's going to be just the Field Barrier.
Just the Field Barrier. Would you like to give an explanation on that as to why that is how that works?
Well, what's going to happen is the Field Barrier is going to protect the mine from being destroyed by a Harpy's Feather Duster, so the mine will stay on the field.
That is indeed the correct answer. This is the type of thing that you'd find very typically when you are playing Mystic Mine. This is the type of thing that'll happen a lot, and actually a lot of players do make this mistake. The reason for this specifically is that the Harpy's Feather Duster destroys the mine and the Field Barrier simultaneously, so at the point where it would destroy the mine, the Field Barrier's effect is still applying, so for this reason, the Harpy's Feather Duster will only apply its destruction successfully to the Field Barrier. Currently 1 for 1, Jeff. A little bit of an easy one off the start. No hesitation from you. You know your stuff when it comes to things that you have seen often. I'm curious to see if you'll have that same amount of confidence when you get to some stuff that you haven't seen as much.
That's right. That's right. I thought you were going to have a Bean Soldier out there in attack mode for question 1.
I'll be honest. There is Bean Soldier at some point in this exam. I'm telling you right now, you will be seeing a Bean Soldier. I hope you brushed up on your flavor text.
I have. The
current game state, your opponent controls a Gunkin Suship Shari. You don't have to read the flavor text on this one. All you gotta know, it's a big, beefy vanilla beater. You have a set Metaverse. Your opponent is going to go into the battle phase and declare an attack with their Shari, to which you are going to chain Metaverse. With Metaverse, you're going to be activating your Ace monster, Ace card, Ace whatever, Mystic Mine. On resolution of the Metaverse, what happens?
When did you say it was? When did I flip up the Metaverse?
Yeah, so you flipped up the Metaverse in response to your opponent's attack declaration. So they declare a direct attack, and on declaration, you flip up the Metaverse to activate the Mystic Mine.
I guess usually I would flip that up before the battle phase.
Run me through your thought process on this. What is the, like, if the text is like, what text is making you lean towards one side, towards the other?
Just because of when the Metaverse is flipping up there. Because I'm kind of thinking back to when I used to play like Stun deck and I had Threatening Roar, and I flipped up the Threatening Roar, and it seemed like that attack went through already. I'm going to say I think it's like that, and because I didn't flip the Metaverse up earlier, and get the mine out there like I normally would, I'm just going to go ahead and say that attack, I flipped it up too late, and that attack is going to go through.
The attack is going to go through. Can I get a final answer, Jeff?
Final answer.
All right. Well, Jeff, you are correct. The attack is going to go through, and you will be taking the 2,000 points of damage. The reason why is specifically because of the text on Mystic Mine, and you did good to compare it to Threatening Roar because it works effectively the same way. It's specifically that they cannot declare an attack, as opposed to the monster. Like if Mystic Mine said monsters your opponent control cannot attack, then they wouldn't be able to. The attack would stop. So, for example, if you Fogblade a monster after it's declared an attack, because it cannot attack, the attack won't continue. But if it cannot declare an attack, if you prevent it from being able to declare an attack after the attack was already declared, the attack will still go through. Currently 2 for 2, Jeff. Killing it, doing a very, very good job. Are you ready to go into question number 3?
Let's go.
Here you control a Cauldron of the Old Man. I don't know if you even still play this. I think you're...
I do.
You do. All right. So
I
you are still
do.
familiar with Cauldron of the Old Man, and a card you might not be as familiar with, which is Magic Reflector. So in this case, I will give you basically the situation, and then you can read the cards as you see fit. So you control the Cauldron of the Old Man, which has 2 counters placed on itself by its own effect. And then here you're going to be activating the Magic Reflector, targeting your Cauldron of the Old Man. What Magic Reflector does is it targets a face-up spell card you control and places a counter on it. If it would be destroyed, remove the counter instead. So in this situation, you are placing a counter on Cauldron of the Old Man via the effect of Magic Reflector, and afterwards you use the effect of the Cauldron of the Old Man to burn your opponent. How much damage will the opponent take?
So does that counter count toward the burn?
That is the question. That is indeed
the question. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I need to read Cauldron of the Old Man here. It doesn't say what kind of counter. It doesn't say like a cauldron counter.
Correct. It does indeed not say a cauldron counter.
It just says place 1 counter on. Well, I don't know my counter rulings, but I'm just going to go with what I read here, and because it doesn't, say a specific counter, I'm going to just say I can inflict 900 damage.
900 damage. Is that your final answer, Jeff?
That's my final answer.
All right. Unfortunately, you are incorrect. Here, your opponent will be taking 600 points of damage. So the way counters work, and this is something that not a lot of people will know. Even the chat were completely with you on this one. The chat was like, yo, easy, 900 damage. So even the chat didn't know. People that watch me every single day do not even know this. So the thing with counters is that you have something that is known as unnamed counters, and then you have named counters. So if I had asked you the same question, but Magic Reflector said, place a magic counter or a named counter, it would have been a lot easier, but it's the fact that both of these placed an unnamed counter. But even though it places an unnamed counter, they are still treated as being 2 different types of counters. So when you have a card like Cauldron of the Old Man, it'll only ever consider the counters placed on it by its own effect, because those are the counters that it considers when it checks how much it wants to gain or to burn the opponent for. So the Magic Reflector counter being placed by another card is specifically one that is how to explain? It's specific to the effect of Magic Reflector, and that's the counter that would be removed if it would be destroyed, and doesn't apply to make the Cauldron of the Old Man burn for more or gain more life points.
Sounds good. Is it possible to call in Appeal Bot for this one?
Call in an Appeal Bot? Appeal Bot is not around. Sorry, unfortunate. Shouldn't feel too bad. 2 for 3 so far.
All right.
Still got quite a ways to go. Let's run question number 4. So the current game state is very simple. You have a set Dark Bribe, and your opponent has 1 card in their hand. Very simplified game state. Here, your opponent is going to activate their Pot of Prosperity. They're going to banish 6 for cost, at which point you want to activate your Dark Bribe. Can you chain the Dark Bribe to your opponent's Pot of Prosperity?
I have seen this one. Because they cannot, I'm pretty sure because they cannot draw, or would that have been later in the...
Prosperity has the text at the end of it that says you cannot draw cards by card effects the turn you activate this card.
Okay. I think because you're just now activating, I can Dark Bribe it. I think when it's come up before, when they've played a Pot of Prosperity and I've let it go through, and then later I've attempted to Dark Bribe, I can't Dark Bribe because it says they cannot draw. So in this case, right here, very simple, I can Dark Bribe this card because it hasn't activated yet.
All right. Is that a final answer, Jeff?
Final answer.
Final answer. The chat seems to be agreeing with you for the most part, but unfortunately that is also incorrect.
Oh, no.
The reason why is because Pot of Prosperity specifically says you cannot draw cards by card effects the turn you activate this card. So at this point, the card is already treated as having been activated. So at this point, the restriction that you cannot draw cards by card effects this turn is already being applied until the point at which Pot of Prosperity's activation gets successfully negated. So for that reason, because your opponent cannot draw cards at this point, you are not legally allowed to activate the Dark Bribe, even though it would negate the activation of the Prosperity. You need to be able to resolve the entirety of your Dark Bribe, and at the moment where Prosperity is activated, you cannot resolve your Dark Bribe because your opponent cannot legally draw cards at this point in time. So for that reason, you are not allowed to chain the Dark Bribe to the activation of the Pot of Prosperity. However, you were correct that if you had let the Pot of Prosperity resolve, you would not be allowed to Dark Bribe later. That's the same kind of thing with Pot of Extravagance, but in this case, due to the text on Pot of Prosperity that says they cannot draw cards the turn they activate, you cannot Dark Bribe unless you specifically negate the activation of Prosperity with something else, and then later on in the turn Dark Bribe.
Okay, that makes sense. And I'm here to learn, Kevin. That's what I'm
I
here
mean,
to do.
hey, now you'll know. You will literally never Dark Bribe a Pot of Prosperity ever.
No, no. I don't think
Excellent.
I'd want to anyway, right?
Currently 2 for 4. If you get the rest of the quiz perfectly all the way to the end, the believers get their channel points. You ready to go for question number 5?
I'm ready.
Let's go. So here, your opponent has a Chamber Dragon Maid and a Dragon Maid Tiding. If I remember correctly, I don't know, does your son play Dragon Link? Have you ever played against Dragon Link?
I have played against it, yes. We've got several people at locals that play Dragon Link, absolutely.
Okay. Awesome. So you are familiar with the cards that are played in Dragon Maid and in Dragon Link. At this point, what is going to happen is your opponent is going to activate the effect of their Dragon Maid Tidying in the graveyard, banishing it to special summon the Chamber Dragon Maid from their graveyard. Here, they're going to activate the effect of Chamber Dragon Maid as Chain Link 1, and you are going to chain to that with an infinite impermanence that you have set. At this point, can you activate your set Demise of the Land as Chain Link 3?
You know, this actually may be one of the things that Matt told me about here.
That is something he said in my chat. He said I told him about missing the timing with Demise.
And, you know, if you try to explain missing timing to me, you've got a tall order here. So what I think happens here is, if I'm reading Demise of the Land, it's a win effect. And when you have a win effect, you can only activate that in response to the last thing that occurred. And we just chained impermanence, so that's not the last thing that occurred, so it would miss timing. So am I right about that? Let's see.
Are you? Big things.
I know he said something about a win effect.
It is indeed a win effect.
Oh boy, this is going to be another guess, I'm afraid.
Okay. What are you leaning more towards? You leaning more towards you can or cannot activate?
Well, to tell you the truth, the first thought in my mind whenever somebody special summons something is I shotgun the Demise of the Land as quickly as possible.
True. Very true.
I don't even think about it. You know, if they summon a Nightmare Sphinx, I don't care. I just go ahead and flip it. I'm leaning towards I think I can do it. I think I can do it because impermanence may work a little differently like that. I'm just going to go ahead and say that I can do it. I'm still in the window to be able to chain Demise of the Land and get out a Mystic Mine.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Well, Jeff, you are correct. You are allowed to chain the Demise of the Land. And the reason why you are allowed to chain the Demise of the Land, despite it being a win effect, is specifically because this entire chain is considered responding to the last action to have occurred in the previous chain. Now, the last action to have occurred in the previous chain was the special summon of Chamber Dragon Maid. So because Demise of the Land is not a trigger effect, it is a quick effect. For this reason, it works the same way as like Torrential Tribute, where as long as the entire chain is responding to a special summon, you are in the legal window to activate the Demise of the Land, despite having activated other quick effects before flipping up your Demise of the Land here. So you are correct. You are currently, what is that, 3 for 5? Not bad at all. Doing good.
Well, if you say so.
All right, 3 for 5. One more question away from scoring a big old tie with Team Samurai X1, and you have 3 questions to get 1 right to not be dead last. All right, ready to go?
Alrighty, let's go.
So here it is currently your turn. You control a Mystic Mine, and you have Mind Control in your hand. You activate the Mind Control, take control of one of your opponent's Bean Soldiers. You then proceed to the end phase of this turn. Is there a way that you are allowed to resolve the Mind Control, giving your opponent their Bean Soldier back, and keep your Mystic Mine, or does the Mystic Mine have to activate at this point and gets destroyed?
Okay, so this is a question of when does mine do its checking?
Exactly. This is actually a question that happens a lot in Sky Strikers because they play both Mystic Mine and Widow Anchor.
Yes.
So it is a very prevalent question that pops up when you have anything that has to do with Mystic Mine, because things like these actually happen a lot.
I just don't know when is it the last thing it checks? Yeah, I can't say I've ever tried to give my opponent a monster back.
You've never mind controlled back a Wabi or something?
I have played, Silent Wabi Beatdown in a Mystic Mine mirror. Yes,
oh
I've done
my
that
god,
before.
Mystic Mine mirror is selling the worst thing ever, dude.
I saw you had a judge call in
Oh,
one. Boy,
yeah.
those guys, what they take you
yeah.
for about an hour and a half or something.
I went there 4 times. 4 times! What are you thinking on this? What are your thoughts? Where's your head at? Are you like, I think I can, I think I can't?
Boy, I'm just not sure. I'm almost thinking the mind control goes first, and then that would leave the mine to check, and then the mine would stay on the field. So that's just purely a guess, and I'm
okay. So you're saying that you can return the Bean Soldier and keep your Mystic Mine here?
that's what I'm saying.
All right. Can I get a final answer, Jeff?
Final answer.
All right. Well, Jeff, you are correct. You are indeed correct. Currently on 4 out of 6. The reason why you are allowed to return the Bean Soldier and get to keep the Mystic Mine is specifically because when you are in your end phase, at this point, basically how this works, Mystic Mine is something that does need to happen in the end phase if you have the same number of monsters as your opponent, but it doesn't immediately happen the moment you enter the end phase. The way the end phase effectively works is that while you have Mystic Mine just says, hey, you're not allowed to leave the end phase while both players have the same number of monsters, but you don't have to immediately activate and resolve the Mystic Mine the moment you enter the end phase. So at this point, as the turn player, you're allowed to select whether or not you want to activate the mine, which you can do. If you wanted to lose your Mystic Mine, you could make the decision to be like, okay, I will now activate and resolve the effective Mystic Mine because you both control the same number of monsters, and then afterwards return the Bean Soldier. Or you could have done the opposite, which is activate the resolve the mind control, give back the Bean Soldier, and then the Mystic Mine. At this point, you do not control the same number of monsters, so it allows you to go through. Simple enough?
Okay, yeah, I did not know that you had the choice between what resolved when, so that's great.
Ready for question number 7, Jeff?
I'm ready, let's do it.
So in this situation, you have activated Prohibition, calling what is probably the worst card that would ruin your day, Cosmic Cyclone. In this situation, your opponent has a Cosmic Cyclone in grave, a Cosmic Cyclone in hand. I want to know which actions your opponent can perform regarding their Cosmic Cyclone here while you have declared Cosmic Cyclone with Prohibition. So the questions that I'm asking here specifically, are they allowed to activate? Are they allowed to set the Cosmic Cyclone from hand? Are they allowed to Signet Mining, discard the Cosmic Cyclone for cost? Are they allowed to activate Magician of Faith to add back the Cosmic Cyclone from their graveyard? And if they activate Dust Tornado on your set back row here, are they allowed to, via the effect of Dust Tornado, set the Cosmic Cyclone from their hand? The first step for this question is, with the Cosmic Cyclone that they have in the hand, what actions can they perform solely with that Cosmic Cyclone? Can they activate it? Can they set it?
So they can't use that Cosmic Cyclone in hand.
Okay.
They can't set that Cosmic Cyclone in hand.
They cannot set it. Okay.
The Signet Mining, I'm pretty sure I know this, that you can discard a card that you've called Prohibition with for cost.
Okay, so you're saying you are allowed to mining discard the Cosmic Cyclone?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's right.
Okay, and the other two steps, if you activate the Dust Tornado targeting your opponent's set Solemn Strike, Tornado says destroy that target, then you can set one spell trap from your hand. So via a card effect, would you be allowed to set the Cosmic Cyclone from your hand that was called by Prohibition?
I'm going to say no to that too.
Okay, and the last one, the Magician of Faith, if you flip it, it says target a spell in your graveyard, add that target to your hand.
I'm going to say that it's similar to the cost thing, that you can add it back. I think it's similar to the way Cynet mining works.
Is that a final answer, Jeff?
That's a final answer.
Bro, I'm impressed. You got all of it right.
Oh my
all
God,
of it. You can discard.
crazy.
You can discard for cost. You can
Oh.
Magician of Faith, add it back, but you cannot set it or activate it or set it via card effect. Jeff, good
Oh my
freaking
gosh.
job. Holy. Okay, I'm impressed. Yo, I am. Oh wow. God damn. Yo, good job, dude.
Big shout outs to all you judges. I mean, the guys that, Coder, you do such a great job. And the guys at our locals do such a great job. They're patient with me. They take time to explain stuff. And, I wouldn't have been able to do it without them.
Honestly, I am very, very, very impressed right now. You're still in the running to give the believers their points.
I thought for sure I was going to set the low bar today, Coder.
You're currently
for sure.
5 for 7, dude. 5 for 7
right.
with just one question remaining. So just as a quick little explanation, the type of things that you are allowed and aren't allowed to do with Prohibition they're kind of wacky and all over the place. Typically, you can use the card that is declared with Prohibition for cost, so for discarding costs, for tribute costs and stuff like that. You can also always add those cards. So say, for example, you Prohibition call Sky Stretcher Ace Ray, you can still Reinforcement of the Army add Ray. That is still completely legal. But in terms of placing the card on the field in any way, shape, or form, is not something that you can legally do. So yeah, under Prohibition, it does have a lot of weird restrictions. The OCG text is a lot clearer with what you can and cannot do. But I do have a video on Prohibition that basically in under a minute, I explain all the stuff that you can and cannot do with Prohibition. So if you guys want to learn more about that, go check out that video. But without further ado, Jeff, we are ready for the final question of the quiz. Are you ready? Are you feeling confident?
I'm ready.
Let's get into the final question. Here, your opponent has 4 pieces of Exodia in their hand. They control a Sangan and have a set Ballista Squad. It is currently the 19th turn of Final Countdown. Next turn, you win the duel, Jeff. You are right there, but your opponent has Exodia in hand. They're only missing 1 piece. So here your opponent is going to activate their set Ballista Squad, tributing their Sangan to destroy your face-up Mystic Mine. In this situation, on resolution of this chain, your opponent activates their Sangan with the intent to add the last piece of Exodia to their hand as Chainlink 1, to which you are going to chain Pyro Clock of Destiny, which says move the turn count forward by 1 turn. In this situation, how does the chain resolve?
I have no idea, but I'm going to go get 3 copies of this card. I want to say that is it as simple as the chain resolves backwards? Oh, man.
What are you thinking right now? What's your thought process? You're like, damn, this makes sense, that makes sense. Where are you at right now?
I'm almost thinking, is this a case like I used to play Cubics?
Oh wow.
And I've played all the great decks. All the great decks.
Oh, I think I know where this is going.
Me and my opponent have both burned at the same time, and the game has ended in a draw before.
Yeah, so that is the effect of the Cubic Lord. Yeah, the Cubic Lord burns both players, and if both players are under 3,000, it would result in a draw, yes.
Would both of these effects take place where the countdown would, and then he would get Exodia? And no, I don't know. I'm just going to guess, and I'm going to go with an educated guess and just go with the old basics. Chain resolves backwards. Chain Link 2 is is that where we're at?
The Pyro Clock. Pyro Clock is indeed Chain Link 2.
Which would activate the final countdown to 20, and I'm going to say I would win the duel.
Is that a final answer, Jeff?
That's a final answer.
Ladies and gentlemen of the chat, Jeff has scored 6 out of 8 on our quiz. You are indeed correct. The final countdown will resolve, and it will make the turn count pass to 20 after the final countdown, and your opponent is going to admit defeat, lose the duel, and you will be the winner. Okay, so basically the way that this works, and the reason it works this specific way is because when it comes to a win condition, usually the way it works with chains is you always resolve the entire chain before anything else can activate afterwards. But when it comes to win conditions, life points dropping to 0, final countdown being met, Exodia being added to hand or something like that, the moment at which the win condition has been achieved, you do not continue with the chain links. At the end of each chain link is effectively when you check if a win condition has been achieved, and if a win condition has been achieved, you don't continue with the rest of the chain. It just happens then and there, and the duel ends. So here, the Pyro Clock of Destiny makes it so that the final countdown goes up to the 20th turn, and you will win the duel before the effect of the Sangan will go ahead and resolve to add the last piece of Exodia. Jeff, you are correct, and have scored 6 out of 8. The believers win their channel points. Your studying has actually paid off. Excellent work, Jeff. So are you going to go out and buy yourself 3 copies of Pyro Clock of Destiny?
and play it tonight, as a matter of fact.
So anyways, guys, that was it for this episode of Ruling Quiz. Dude, this was so cool. Jeff actually showed up 6 out of 8 with Mystic Mine with some complicated stuff. I was really genuinely impressed. Jeff, thank you so much for coming onto the show. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you had fun, and I hope you enjoyed yourself. To all you Yu-Gi tubers out there that want to be a part of this show, let me know in the comment section on Twitter or on Discord if you want to be invited, and I will see all of you in the next video. Have a good one, guys. Peace!